Today's video is sponsored by good friends at Dockingbay94, located in Boca Raton, Florida. Check us out on comicsandgames.com, and remember, shipping is nationwide. Hello guys, and welcome to a very special episode of Codename New to Vero 2. Hi, I'm your presenter, Shabu Are You? Well guys, I decided to bring in two topics into this one episode, just because I think it's a lot more fun than just one of these things. But we're going to do our beginning of the month comic book pickups. Again, I do this, I share new and old books, not just, new books. So again, I hope maybe these will bring to your attention. Maybe you'd be interested in looking in your local LCS to track these issues down. But I kind of tailor this towards fellow Gen Xers, guys that grew up in the 80s and 90s collecting comics and are kind of coming back into the scene and discovering a totally different comic world when we last left it. So I try to help guys in this age bracket with their return into comics, as well as we always cover monthly GIJoe on this channel. So before I begin, I would like to give a special thanks to one of our sponsors. And I'm talking about Dockingbay94. And at the end of the video, you're going to be inclined to contact him after I discuss some very important action figures that you could get at their store. Since we're on discussing about it, might as well showcase the first item. And that is the Cara Dune Retro Line Kenner action figure. Now, this is one of those things that it's one of those rare instances in modern toy collecting where a toy was pulled upon the news of a certain events that happened. In this case, Gina Carano tweeting some ridiculous stuff and being let go by Disney Lucasfilms for her comments. And it was just a big PR fiasco that came afterwards. Well, on the flip side of it, they had already was about to ship these out because it was about the same time these were being released, and they decided to pull anything with Gina Carano featured in it. Her Black Series figures, these all of a sudden were being called back and being pulled off the shelves because they didn't want to associate with Gina Carano anymore. Again, there was this was insane, But it's her own damn fault for opening up her mouth and being a dumbass. Like, she has the right to free speech and all that other stuff. But come on, man. I mean, if any of us wrote stuff and our employer found out about it, we're gonna face the repercussions of it. So, she made her own bed and now she has to sleep in it. That's my take on it. But anyway, the fact is that Dockingbay94 was one of the few stores that must have had the initial box reserved for it. Usually they send these out to the big chains first, and then the little guys come trickling in. They send it to the small shops. Well, Dockingbay94, they put in a big order for these figures, and luckily enough, he had a few Cara Dune figures, and he was kind enough to set one aside for me. So again, thank you, John at Dockingbay94. And that's where you guys come in. Now, what this whole thing is, they started doing this around the 50th anniversary of Star Wars, and basically reissuing, they issued not this one, but the iconic Kenner figures from back in the day. I mean, these are carbon copies of the foot stamp would be different, but they started doing that for Star Wars. They did it for Empire. I picked up a Yoda, and then I picked up Luke, and there's a big episode of Retro Blasting saying how this is the definitive Luke Skywalker, but for some reason, and also being called Bespin Luke when he should be called, Empire Luke, really. And what he's wearing is basically flight fatigues that you would wear in flight schools. But that's another whole topic I'm going off of. But I love these figures. I know I've been very critical of modern Disney Star Wars, but when you put this combination, no matter how many times it's on the shelves, I'm going to be a sucker and grab them. So they did that for Star Wars and Empire, but for some odd reason, they didn't do it for Jedi yet. Maybe that'll come next year, I don't know. But they decided to do it for the Mandalorian and give it the same type of treatment. Now, the thing is that Walmart and Target, it's very tough to find these anywhere. It's really difficult to find these. They go like hotcakes. But if you're interested in, Docking Bay has all of the characters, and I'm talking about, it says it back there. These are all the Mandalorian. Cara Dune is all but gone, but all the characters, the Remnant, Stormtrooper, that's a good army builder. Moth Gideon, he's on there. So it's just getting these modern characters from the Mandalorian in to look like, the Kenner figures, and I think that's pretty cool. The history behind this one is pretty cool, so that's why I was interested in it. I might get Mando, but and then Baby Yoda, you got to get a smaller. It'll be kind of cool to pair Baby Yoda with the original Yoda. So I have these displayed on my wall, and I think that if you're looking for them, contact Dockingbay94, and they ship all the time. So the link is on the bottom of this channel, so make sure you check them out. All right, with that aside, let's talk about what comic books that I picked up. And again, this is something to help you. Like maybe you'd find these interested and begin your search looking for these issues or anything around these issues now before it's too late, because that's why I try to help fellow Gen Xers, is that modern comics is really driven on what's coming on Disney Plus, Amazon, all these streaming services. So especially with the MCU, it's good to jump on board well in advance for things that could have an impact once the movie is released. Case in point, let's start with the home run. And I'm talking about Black Panther. This is issue number 3 in the Dark Reign series. So this is the first official appearance on the main comic for Shuri becoming Black Panther. That's right. We all know with the sad passing of Chadwick Boseman that it's been confirmed that his sister Shuri is going to assume the mantle of Black Panther. This is huge. We have someone that's going to continue with the legacy of the character Black Panther without, I guess putting a stink eye to the legacy of Chadwick Boseman. And I think that's great. I mean, Shuri is a pretty cool character. We only know a little bit about her, but I'm sure she's going to be one of the main people driving the MCU in this phase. She's going to be connected to the Young Avengers, all kinds of stuff. So she's the bridge liaison between the MCU as we knew it to what's going to happen. Because as I said in the last video, there's going to be 2 branches for the MCU, the regular, and then there's going to be a Young Avengers that's going to be branching off to attract a younger audience. And that's cool. I think that's a great idea. There's characters like Ms. Marvel, America Chavez, Kate Bishop, what's his name? Hawkeye's coming out. So I think it's very important to target these books and kind of for us old guys to be introduced to these characters, because they're going to have a major impact on things going forward. I also got issue 1 that's coming from the UK, believe it or not. And that's the first her cover appearance beat on a variant cover. So this is the official appearance on the mainline comic series of Black Panther. So that's why I targeted this from the start. And plus, it's a great cover. So Black Panther number 3. Now, this is an excellent segue into the next comic book I was able to pick up. And that is Invincible Iron Man number 10. This is the second appearance of a character by the name of Rivry Williams. Why is this name important? Well, she's going to be assuming the mantle of Iron Man. What happened is that this character is going to be introduced into Black Panther number 2. And she's going to have Shuri is going to be like the mentor to this Riri Williams, who has the same intelligence level as Tony Stark did. She's a very young girl, but she's already way ahead of the ballpark. So she's one of those characters that's very interesting. I mean, her first appearance is issue number 9, with a first cameo appearance in issue number 7 of this story arc. I picked up issue number 10 because the previous issue is like already in the $200 range. It is getting up there and out of control. So Rivry Williams is another character. I think her second appearance is a nice, safe bet. I think it's not going to break the bank. It's not going to hurt, but it's a significant thing into the character's legacy going forward. Because I think Riri and Suri and I guess Miss Marvel, they're going to have a big, and American Chavez, all these characters are going to have a major impact on this Young Avengers team that's upcoming. And we got introduced to Speed and Wicked. Kate Bishop is joining. So all the pieces are in place for this B team, this young team that's going to be introduced into the MCU. So if you're able to, maybe you get lucky and at your LCS, Invincible Iron Man number 9, but if not, number 10 is a nice safe bet. So the next book I was able to pick up isn't a surprise to my regulars, as I've been targeting a lot of the keys that pertain to this character. For example, Incredible Hulk 282, the first appearance of the first team up of Hulk and She-Hulk, as well as the Savage She-Hulk number 1, which is at the grading service right now, and as well as Sensational She-Hulk issue number 1 that's mounted up there in the top corner. Another book, I've been reunited with Sensational She-Hulk number 34. And right off the bat, if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, especially in the 90s, you remember the iconic Vanity Fair cover featuring Demi Moore, a very pregnant Demi Moore. So this is, poking fun at that issue with She-Hulk saying, "It's not fair to accuse me of vanity. I just thrive on controversy." Again, this book has no connection, but for some reason, this and issue number 43 are crazy in demand. Especially issue 43 where, she's supposed to be jump roping and stuff like that, naked, and it was just a big tongue-in-cheek, and they make fun of it on the covers. That's why this run for She-Hulk is so much fun to go back and revisit this whole iconic run. The next book I picked up is it's interesting. I've talked about my fascination for, witchcraft, swords, all that other stuff, Conan type of theme. And ironically, I picked up issue number 1 of the movie adaptation of Conan. Why is this important? And I've talked about it. There's a Red Sonja that is supposed to appear in Amazon, and I'm going to talk about that in a second, actually. But I have a feeling that Conan has also been getting a lot of attention. Remaking of this movie, has come and gone so many times. But I have a particular notion that this is a good book to pick up and hold on to, because something down the road is going to pertain to this. And it doesn't even look like Arnold, because he didn't, I guess, allow the rights for his facial. So they secured the rights to do the comic book, but not the rights to his image, or likeness, I should say. So it's kind of interesting. This book, it's brand new. I mean, it looks like it's never been read. So I think this is a great issue to pick up and put away. Save it for a rainy day. And again, this segues into Red Sonja number 1. Now, I already have the 1979 or 78 issue number 1, her first standalone series. Well, this is going to be the first issue in her second set of series. I don't know. I just think that it's one of those things that it doesn't hurt, but it's a very good idea because of the Red Sonja affiliation with Amazon that's coming up. That's somewhere on the line. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty significant. And Conan, Red Sonja, all that stuff is coming back. And I think it's important to pick up these. The modern comic people are going into the horror stuff like Werewolf by Night and Blade and Dracula. And that's cool and all. But I think that, this is where it's a good time to pick up these type of books, where those prices on those are already through the roof. Going into this direction may be a safer bet in the long. It may not be, but whatever. It's fun as hell. So Red Sonja issue number 1. The next book that I was able to pick up is Hercules, Prince of Power issue number 1. Now, the reason why I picked this up is because we already seen, with Thor, Love and Thunder, there's going to be the God Killer that's going to be on there. So he has to kill gods. So I have what are the gods are going to be? And I have a feeling like some of these mythological characters that Marvel has toyed with and have it come and gone throughout all different lines, I think they're going to be significant. So why not in Hercules' first standalone series, limited run, by picking the very first issue? We already see some scrolls there. We know that maybe, is there a tie into Guardians down the road? Can this character be used in multi-facets? Yes, yes, and yes. So I think this is another safe bet that doesn't hurt the bank, that could have a huge impact down the road. So Hercules, Prince of Power, issue number 1. Now, the next book I picked up because it just harkens 90s, and when I saw it and I saw the character, it just brought me back to my youth again, riding my bicycle to Heroes Comic Shop, outside of Philadelphia. So it's X-Men number 6, a Jim Lee classic cover with Psylocke, Sabretooth, and Wolverine. I mean, is there any significance to this issue? No. But again, it's that feeling I got when I saw this in the rack. I was like, yes, whatever. It just, with Psylocke on it like this, looking great. This is a great cover. So just that alone is why I selected this issue. The second to last issue in this early month pickup is The Further Adventures of Indiana Jones, issue number 1. Now, we all know that currently the new Indiana Jones is being filmed, with Harrison Ford being injured. Well, all things have been quiet on the Indiana Jones front, and this could very well be the last Indiana Jones to feature Harrison Ford. Let's be honest, he's like getting close to 80s and upper 70s or something like that. But I think that this is a great issue to pick up and target right now, just for the fact that, it's been quiet. But we do know that there is a movie coming. So having an issue number 1, an Indiana Jones story, is probably it's a good harmless bet to pick up. So Indiana Jones, issue number 1. The last book on this month's beginning of the month pickup, again, I should have done this one right after I did the Jim Lee one. But anyway, it's Wildcats number 1. Yeah. There's been some buzz concerning this team of the Wildcats. I just think that there's been some news and stuff concerning the Wildcats franchise, and that something's going to come of it. That's the reign to be seen. And you could pick these up everywhere. They're all over the freaking place. But I don't know. These things have been like, a lot of people may have forgotten about the Wildcats, because they had a high number of sales of this issue, along with Spawn number 1. I mean, out of all of those Image guys, Spawn is the only one still going strong. A lot of the other guys in that all-star creed, a team that went over to create Image, have gone on. Jim Lee is now, the main honcho over at DC. But, this issue, again, it just harkens back to memories of youth. Whether something comes from it, who the hell knows? But if you have it, pull it out and just put it aside and make note of it. If you've gotten rid of yours a long time ago, well, now's the time to pick this up again and put it away. So, Wildcats, issue number 1. The second half of this video, I wanted to look at the Snake Eye Origins figures that are being offered by Hasbro. Now, you may have seen these at your Walmart or Target and blown past them because everyone's focusing on getting the classified figures or the GIJoe retro lines. But I believe that these figures are indeed the descendant of the iconic 80s, 90s GIJoes that we all grew up with, mainly because of the price point and their intended audience. The fact that I believe these are actually made for kids to play with and enjoy more so than this retro line or anything else for the fact. So this, in fact, is the descendant of our GIJoes, and the price point of it being around $10, you factor in inflation and everything else. Yeah, this is the closest thing to modern day G.I. Joe action figures than anything else, in my opinion. It's intended for kids, and I just wanted to pick one up, to complete my Baroness line. So I figured, what the hell? But a lot of fans I've noticed have totally omitted this and just have this as an afterthought. So we got the Craftsman lock blade, and we're going to crack this thing open. So like we do when I do any toy review, I have everything open to show what's included. It has this weird, bizarre gun. I think it's kind of like a gun and a grappling gun all at one. It has the Cobra snake head for the barrel, which is weird, but, whatever. So the gun sucks, but, what are you going to do? Now, the two knives that they have, or daggers, are actually reminiscent to the G.I. Joe Cobra Island Baroness dagger. So the shape is identical. And we look at this sculpting, it's not bad. I think it's, I could see kids enjoying this. But sadly, modern day kids aren't into playing with action figures like us 80s or 90s kids. So I feel like this is going to be ones you're probably going to find on clearance racks and stuff like that. So, but this is a pretty cool figure to have just for shits and giggles. I think, at the price point of $10, probably when it's on clearance, it'll be like $7 or $5. And it has this kind of like a He-Man type of a spring action on the sides. And I was struggling with it because it was stuck in one position. But then I realized that you kind of have to click it, and then it goes back into being centered. So that's something that you have to keep an account for. Articulation is very basic. No swivel head. There's no swivel ankle joints. I think it's like 5-point articulation. So I have her with my iconic Baroness lineup here. And I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. You can't be too critical for it. But, it kind of fits nice with the other Baronesses, all the different variations of her. So I'm going to give this a pass, and, something that once it's on clearance, it's something to look into. And hey, if you have kids and you're trying to get kids into G.I. Joe, maybe this is the line to do it, guys. Like, if you have some relatives or, here, this figure would be perfect for that. So that's my take on this particular line of action figures. Yes, it is indeed the descendant of our beloved Joes, and I think it's an excellent gateway figure to introduce young kids into this wonderful world of G.I. Joe and get them interested in the mythos. And here I have some of the other pictures of the other offerings that you could pick up. The Snake Eyes, the Storm Shadow. There's different variations of Snake Eyes. Well, anyway, this is GIJoe, and I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode of Codename New to Hero 2. Have a good one.